Okay, I think we're recording. Okay, now we're recording. Cool. Hi, everyone. I don't want to talk about this, but I just feel like I need to talk about it, and mostly because I've talked about it here and there, obviously. Hi, welcome. We're going to talk about my accident. I think I'm so nervous right now. Mostly talking about this for my own selfish reasons. Let's be honest, anyone can buy a microphone and talk to a camera. Tomorrow, oh my God. When I post this, it will be exactly... Maybe I should squeeze in another therapy appointment before I talk about this. Didn't think it would be this hard to talk about. A lot going on up here. So tomorrow, when I post this today, will be exactly a year ago I got into my horseback riding accident. Yay. I feel like I've just been seeing little things that I would recognize as a sign that I talk about this on a deeper level. I'm the type of person that not everything needs to have meaning. Some things can just simply happen and you can exist and you can keep existing. But some things in my everyday life the past couple weeks have just been happening that I'm I know it's getting to be that time of year again. Not again, because this is the first anniversary, if you want to call it that. When Ilona Mars said something along the lines of, look at all of the different types of bodies, that the body types you'll see in the Olympics, and know that not one type of body type is deemed successful or deemed, attractive or just capable and worthy. I am not an Olympic athlete. I'm not claiming to train like one or be the same status of one, but I think that message just really made me think of holy shit. Well, obviously she's right. It got me thinking, and then seeing a lot of people coming back into horseback riding or starting horseback riding for the very first time. This video is not meant to scare you or freak you out or shed a negative light on horseback riding. I think, unfortunately, this is just kind of what comes with the sport. And that might sound messed up, but, I want to put the disclaimer, my accident was not an original experience, but it meant a lot to me since it was something I experienced, if that makes sense. But I think that being aware of the risk that comes with horseback riding needs to be acknowledged. I think horseback riding is it's a wonderful thing. I love to do it. I still do it. But I feel like there needs to be more, people need to be talking more about the risk that comes with horseback riding. They are 1,000-pound plus animals that we are trusting to understand what we're communicating and asking them to do, and that they trust us to do what we are asking of them. And it's more of a partnership, this and that, the other. I'm not a high-level rider. I'm not a trainer. I'm simply just a girl who loves horseback riding and horses and being at the barn for hours. But this is just my experience. So we're going to talk about it, since I have not really talked about this on an in-depth thing. I feel like I just want to talk about it. Okay, sue me. I've seen videos of myself riding, and sometimes I think I'm going really fast and I'm not. I promise. When you can understand, when you can hear the rhythm of a horse cantering or galloping, that rhythm and you can understand how fast they're going. I will never forget the rhythm at which we were going. And maybe it's the concussion or the neck injury talking, but it was fucking fast. I did what I thought was best in that situation. I wasn't really working with a lot of time, or clear-headed thinking was not on my side. It was maybe 50 yards away from the fence, and that was the last thing I remember. So I wake up, I'm kind of leaning up against the fence. My body just feels, if you've ever dislocated something and then re-dislocated it and it just feels swollen and puffy, that's just how my whole body felt, starting from the neck down. And I just remember screaming because I couldn't, no words were coming out of my mouth. The brain to mouth was just not connecting. I was just freaking out. Like it's scary when your brain is not connecting to your mouth and you can't form words or sentences or feeling. So that happened. I think what took so long for me to confront this in a way that is at like a deeper level of understanding for me is because at the time I was at a job that I let cross a lot of boundaries for me. It crossed a lot of my personal boundaries in terms of when, it's time to put work away and when it's time to be present with friends and in relationships and just be present with myself. Looking back, that I made the guy I was dating at the time, forced him to call my coworker and explain to them that I have to call off work tomorrow. And I remember I had so much stuff to do. I was literally freaking out way more about the stuff I'd have to do for work than getting emergency surgery and figuring out how to do everything else. A year later, we're still having neck and ankle complications. Spent the next couple of months at my parents' house where they were able to take care of me, help me out with everything, and basically just adjust to my new normal. And mom and dad, if you're watching this, I am so sorry that I was just such in a bad mood all the time and never wanted to do anything. Granted, I physically couldn't, but you guys were troopers through those long couple of months. So thank you for that. And it definitely made me realize not only how lucky I am because of I'm physically okay, but how lucky I am to have the support system of my close family and friends. And to be fair, like I did the classic, like I posted a picture of me in a neck brace in the hospital. I did that. I am that girl because first of all, a neck brace is kind of iconic, okay? And so like, yeah, I'm going to post about it. I'm on YouTube right now with a microphone to my face. Of course, I'm going to post a Snapchat with me in a neck brace. So I did do that. But when people would text, call, whatever, like try and contact me to ask what happened, I didn't answer. And if you did get an answer from me, it's because I think we're decently good friends where I feel like I could tell you. But I think a lot of people wanted to know what happened just to be nosy, which I get. Like, I live for the tea. I get that. But at the same time, I also believe in being able to do whatever you want and set boundaries wherever you want those. So, yes, I did post on my Snap that I'm in a neck brace and I'm in the hospital, but a lot of people I wasn't answering. Also, to preface, a lot of the time in the hospital, I was sleeping. I was either sleeping or annoying the nurses to like make my body go even more numb because I just like was in so much pain. But once I got home, just ignoring people because I didn't really want to talk about it. I was also in such a bad place mentally from the job I was working at the time that I saw it as, at least I don't have to work. Like I could have been paralyzed. Yeah, I could have died, but at least I don't have to work. And I think that's a really sad thing. And I just can't believe that I let it get that bad. And now a year later, I realized even a couple months later, I was just like, Melissa, this was a serious thing. And I think ever since then, I've been getting waves of like, this is a lot more serious than you took it at the time. I think I didn't take it that serious at the time because I wanted to survive, like mentally, emotionally. I needed to get through it, and to do that, I didn't want to confront how serious the accident is. Nonetheless, very serious. Took a little bit of a break because I started getting in my head too much about what I wanted to talk about, and then while I was in my head, my camera overheated, so we took a break, and here we are. Now that it's been a year later, I'm more conscious of the everyday things my body is capable of because I was physically put in a position where staying up felt like I was training for a marathon. Like just staying up and being like conscious was hard, let alone like getting up to go to the bathroom or eat or drink water. To someone watching this might be dramatic because it's like, well, Melissa, like you aren't paralyzed or you aren't this or you aren't that or you ended up having full function of your body again. And while that is completely true, I don't think that it should take a life-altering event to be just thankful to be able-bodied or to go through an immense amount of pain to be grateful that you're not in an immense amount of pain. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm just saying, like, to someone else, this might not be that dramatic, but for me, so far in all my years of living, that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And not only one of the hardest things, but in the moment, one of the hardest things, but one of the hardest things that I think still I carry with myself today, which makes it that much harder. Because for background context, I've had 2 knee surgeries, a handful of concussions, a torn labrum before this horseback riding accident. So like, feel like I've had, and like a couple dislocations. So like, I feel like I've had my fair share of stuff that I needed to bounce back physically for, but none that had ever hit me in the way that this one did, emotionally and mentally. I think the more I started to confront my healing and how I felt about everything, I played this game of, well, this could have happened and it could have been so much worse. And like, when you get into the wormhole of deep diving how much it could have been worse, it does freak you out. But when that does happen, I try to just snap out of it as fast, like once I realize I'm doing that, because it can always be worse, but it wasn't. And I think it's a really hard place to get out of, especially when you're in the thick of it and you're just spiraling and you're fixating on what else could have went wrong. But trying to center yourself and just get a grip on stuff and to be able to be like, okay, but it didn't happen that way. I don't really like to play the what if game when it comes to the negatives, because it's simply just, that never happened. Like that never happened. That's just not how it happened. It is like a place that I did bounce back and forth between a lot. And it was really scary. And I think that's when it hit me, like, of how not only serious like it could have been, obviously, but how serious it is, or it was, and how my body kind of internalized a lot of the emotional aspect of it, whether that was related to riding, related to going back to the barn, or just like everyday moving. I've like referenced it in my other YouTube video of when I had met my biological family, of that kid at the dinner table at Thanksgiving, and he's crying and he's like, it's just too good, it really is. Like, that was me, obviously, in that moment, but like even now I'm still like that, because it's okay, disclaimer, this is gonna sound really cheesy and really cringy, however you want to put it. I don't care, because this is just how I feel. And I also feel like cliches, okay, they get me going. I love a good cliche. It's so fascinating and so amazing to me how much the human body is capable of, not only physically, but like the emotions that we're able to experience and the connection that we have with people and ourselves and the universe and everything like that is like going way deeper into what this topic is really about. But I feel like I have the appreciation towards the little things now more than ever. And it almost sucks that it took that experience to get me there, but also like I'm here. Like that's just how it had to happen for me. Like that was part of my character development, if you will. I think I just enjoy things a lot more than I used to, which is an awesome thing. I pay more attention to how I experience things now, and I appreciate them deeper, and I'm a lot more grateful internally. In like all of my videos, I'm still able-bodied. You probably wouldn't know I was in that type of accident unless I'm talking about it right now. After like being in the hospital for a couple weeks, being back home in my parents' house, like first of all, that's automatically just like a punch to the gut, like an automatic blow to the ego, let alone like I need help with everything. And so like I was just very numb, going through the motions, complaining about everything. And when I think of the girl who got home from the hospital and was just so mad and so angry all the time, I didn't deal with a lot of my emotions, but I also didn't deal with the gratitude that comes with surviving, if you will, an accident like that. I feel now that it's been a year later, I feel the weight that comes with being able to walk away from something like that. And again, to some people, that might be light work. It's not the worst thing going on in the world right now. And I get that. But for me, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It was the most I've ever pushed my body, like emotionally, mentally, physically, to this day. So I think when I realized that, holy shit, that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, the gratitude that comes with coming out the other side is crazy for me in my experience. And so when I look back at all the times I was angry or I was complaining that like my mom did something or something wasn't right or like my pillow, like whatever, I also realized that I was so lucky to be complaining about those things, because I could be complaining about so many other things that are actually real life, way worse, and how lucky I was to be able to complain. And I'm totally an advocate for complaining. Like believe me, I love a moment to just be like, damn, this sucks and I can't do anything about it, and that sucks, and that's what it is. But realizing that the things I get to complain about, I'm very lucky to complain about those things. So as we are here on my 1-year anniversary of my life changing forever, and I'm sure I'll have more of these moments to come, but it's been crazy. Like, so many things have happened. I've moved, I don't know if you can say it's across the country, but like from Ohio to Florida, that's a huge move. I've made so many great friends. I've met so many great people. I've learned so many different stories from other people. A lot has happened in a year, which is like, it's one of those things where it feels like it just happened, and I feel like I'm still reliving it sometimes, like the worst parts. But also it's like, how has it been a year already? It's back and forth between it's been a year already and it's been a year already. The message I would give to a year ago Melissa is, you're okay. And you're gonna be okay. Like, oh my God. You're lucky. You're surrounded by so many great people. You are so loved. And that is okay. Like, everything is okay. It's fine. Everything sucks right now. But that's all it is that it's right now. A lot can happen in a year. A lot can happen in a couple of seconds, and a lot can happen in a year. So do with that what you will. Thanks for watching. Happy anniversary to my life. Very grateful to be here. And yeah, see you on the next one. Bye.